Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Welcome. This is the Monday Morning Digest. Our viewers, we want to welcome you for this Morning Digest, this discussion. I believe you have had a great week and that you are ready to go. And today being the 12th day of May 2025. I believe as the year is rolling, you are making progress in your life. So welcome. This is, as usual, a very, very exciting time to be alive. Of course, whether you talk about politics, whether you talk about, life in general, the weather, Nairobi is great. We are doing well, but yes, there are a lot of things we need to begin to discuss. As always, as people come towards the middle of the year, June is a very critical month when it comes to taxes, because you need to have filed all your returns and all your taxes if you're running a corporation by 30th of June. So this morning, we're going to be talking about tax compliance for MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. And I'm joined on the set this morning by a wonderful man, a friend of mine. He's called Kairu and Magutu, and he's a tax expert. And as soon as he begins to talk, I'm sure you're going to discover that. And so let's talk about tax compliance. Let's talk about all these little bits and pieces about taxes. The deeper you look at taxing, the more you realize how complicated it is and how little you and me know about taxes. So welcome, and please share with your friends and invite them to come and join us this morning as we talk about tax compliance. All right, so Bwana Kairu, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So this is your camera. Just look at the camera and welcome our viewers to join us in this conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, viewers. I am Kairu Magutu. I'm a consultant in finance, and the issues to do with the taxes, that is why I'm here today. We discuss into details taxes on MSMEs. We know that there is a lot. Actually, you'd be surprised that there is more than what you know or what you are aware of. The most important thing when it comes to any field is to get the right information, because the challenge we have is that sometimes we have the information that is not complete, or we do not have any information at all, and everything is affecting us. I want to welcome you to this session. Feel welcome. Let us move together.
Wonderful. Yes. Yeah. So thank you, Bwana Magutu. I think I like. We need professionals, especially whenever we talk about taxes. I think it's an area that is sensitive, but again, ignorance is not a strategy.
Yes.
It's not a strategy. So yeah. I think the more you know, the better. So I think of the set, we were discussing about all the various issues that perhaps we need to address here in respect to MSMEs, MSMEs, because there are a lot of taxes: presumptive taxes, TOT, tax on turnover, monthly rental income taxes, VAT. Sometimes you receive an email telling you need to start paying installments. Sometimes you hear of advanced tax. Yes. Even the guys who run matatus, they know there is something called advanced tax. And of course, the one we are more familiar with, payroll, people pay as you earn, a housing levy, corporate tax, of course. And then the other one, which we don't talk a lot, NSSF, National Social Security Fund, tax. Of course, SHA is one of the most famous tax And then the general conversation that taxes are too high.
Yes.
So maybe I want to give you the freedom to start somewhere, and maybe just let's for anyone running a business that is registered as a medium enterprise, they have a couple of employees, they have a payroll. For them, tax is a big deal. So let's start us off. What are the starting point for tax compliance for a medium enterprise?
Thank you so much. And I want us to discuss this issue of taxation. Maybe one thing, NSSF is not a tax.
Yes.
SHA is not a tax.
Okay.
They are just statutory deductions.
Okay.
And that is something that, you see, sometimes we hit the government even on where we are benefiting.
Yes.
Like the NSSF, it is for our own good.
Yes.
But we are like, they are taking our salary. It is for our own good. Also, SHA is equally not a tax on itself.
Yes.
So we'll try to distinguish between the deductions that are non-tax and the deductions that are taxes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, when it comes to the MSMEs, all the taxes, like the large enterprises, will affect the MSMEs.
Yes.
And to start with, these are the small enterprises, medium enterprises, and again, it covers the macro enterprises.
Yes.
And this is where the government, trying to capture everyone, introduced what we call the presumptive tax and the TOT.
Yes.
Now, the question that someone will ask, what is presumptive tax? What is TOT? What is VAT? When do we incorporate all these in our taxes?
Yes.
And again, under the MSMEs, are we in the pay bracket? You see, that's a question. Are we on the corporate tax bracket?
Yes.
So these are the things that we need to clearly understand.
Yes.
For the issue to do with the annual returns are filed between January and June in respect to the immediate financial period.
Okay.
The year starting from January to December, we do the filing the following year.
Yes.
It is a statutory requirement.
Yes.
That we file the returns, not necessarily the payment of the taxes.
Yes.
Because for an employed person, they file return and the employer has been deducting the taxes and other statutory deduction remitting to the Kenya Revenue Authority. So sometimes people look at it like it is another tax. It is filing the return to show your performance in the previous year.
Okay.
For the employed people, they do the filing of the return to confirm that what the employer submitted is actually what they deducted. Not necessarily that the employee will pay the taxes when filing the return. So we need to understand that. Now, back to the MSMEs. MSMEs, I will start with the taxes that directly hit the MSMEs and which do not hit the large enterprises.
Okay.
And I want to talk about the TOT.
Okay.
This is a tax that was introduced to bring on board the people in the small industry, the small sector of the economy. That is the usual one, Mama Boga, the Boda Boda, that person who has a small kiosk. You see that category of the business people. They contribute a lot to our economy. They also need to contribute to the tax bracket.
Okay.
The tax basket.
Right.
So in an attempt to onboard them, the government introduced the turnover tax.
Okay.
And the turnover tax, there has been a lot of shift from 2018 when it was 1%, then it came to 3%, then we found ourselves at 1.5%. So some people don't even understand, yes, if I want to comply, which tax, what percentage am I supposed to pay on the TOT?
Okay.
Number one, it is 1.5% as per the Finance Act of 2023-2024.
Yes. Yeah, because the 2024-2025
was
kicked out by the Gen Z. and I think Tata successfully petitioned the courts and they kicked it out, right?
Yes. Okay. So the thing is, under the 2023-2024, the TOT is 1.5%.
Okay.
And what does this mean?
Yes.
It means once you are registered for the TOT, you will be filing the tax every month by the 20th day of the month following the month of computation. For example, now we are in the month of May. Today is 12th. We are still filing the TOT for the month of April. So up to 20th. So the government allows that period for you to file and pay. Now, how do you compute it? It is 1.5% multiplied by the amount of the sales revenue that you generated in the previous month without any deductions. Now, someone will feel like, is it not too much? The good thing is, TOT is final tax for the MSMEs. But again, there is a definition. Before the 2023, and these are some of the things that someone will look at. The government, is it doing justice to us? Is it injustice to us? I would feel the government did justice to the Kenyans because initially it was anyone whose revenue, annual revenue is 500,000 and above, up to 5 million, was eligible to pay the TOT. Above 5 million, you are supposed to get into the 16% VAT. Now, the government, in its own wisdom, and to try and incorporate every other person, and actually to increase the bracket, to make it easy for Kenyans in the lower bracket of the economy, they increased from 1 million upward to 25 million. You see, it means if someone is generating 25 million per year, is under the 1.5%. So once you pay that, it is final. You will not pay other taxes. So that is the TOT.
And by the way, we need to let people know when you say, so if you pay tax on turnover, then you don't pay VAT. And the range is up to 25 million per year. That's a huge figure. That covers a lot of people actually, by the way. Even a hardware guy, you know, running a reasonably big hardware. Somebody in running a mini market, perhaps is actually covered. Somebody, even some small scale supermarket, if you are one store supermarket, you're probably within that range.
What there is that we are talking of about 2 million sales per month. You see, when you talk a revenue of 2 million per month, at least that is a good bracket. And that will enable that person who is operating a small enterprise to just pay the 1.5%, and they will not have an issue with the KRA. That again help them not to keep issuing the e-teams. You see, they issuing the e-teams because on the other end, they are not on the VAT. So it helps a lot, and again, it widened the bracket. Now, there is another element, we call it presumptive tax. Kenyans, in their own way, they decided not to comply on that. But it was meant to try and ease your TOT. When you are paying your license, pay the license, the trading license, plus 15% of your trading license. But now, we looked at it like the government is introducing another hidden tax. I'm paying the license to the county government, then I pay 15% of the trading license. Simply, if my annual trading license is 50,000, I'll have to pay 15%, which is another 7,500. Now, why do I need to pay this? The presumptive tax was to enable you pay tax in advance, so that when you'll be paying the TOT, you will have already paid the tax. So you are supposed to offset against the TOT. It is an advance tax. You offset against the other taxes in the future. That was the objective, but it hasn't worked so well. Then the counties felt you are overburdening. The national government is overburdening these people when they are paying the trading licenses. They get discouraged. So the county government tried to avoid not to be engaged in that. So it is just an advance tax.
You know why I like this conversation is because now you are unpacking this black box called taxes. Because a lot of people actually, when they think about tax compliance and paying taxes, first of all, they are not too sure what works where. So you need an accountant or somebody who is a tax expert to take you through. So we're giving you free, tax advice here, and we hope that you can take some of these ideas and maybe get some extra help, because perhaps if you comply, what happens is that you now have advantage because you have the certificate of compliance. If there is another big business coming your way and you apply for that business, you actually get listed, and you can actually take advantage of that. You can get a very, very big contract just because you have evidence that you've been tax compliant. So again, that's the other thing people need to appreciate. I had somebody here on the show who was talking about, we were talking about branding, and one of the things he said, a gentleman called Monene, was a lot of small businesses think that it is not wisdom to comply, formalize their businesses, while actually when you formalize, you actually now create more opportunities. So that needs to be said very clearly. So no amount of hiding is going to help you. You just remain a small guy. But okay, so back to so you're saying when you pay TOT, then you are actually tax compliant. And it has given very good margin. Okay, so what else do you want to add on to that?
No, the other thing is, as your business grow, you get to the VAT bracket.
Okay.
The TOT actually came to help the business people, the MSMEs, because you don't need to hire an accountant to do it for you. It is something that you know how much your revenue is, 1.5% you pay to the government. But as you grow the business, you register for VAT.
Okay.
Now, the VAT, the good thing with the VAT again, as compared to the TOT, is that you offset your input VAT against the output VAT. The difference is what you pay as the VAT to the government. So, in simple terms, VAT at 16% is a tax on the value that you create on your product or service. So for the business people, when I go to a wholesale shop, I have my small supermarket, I will buy goods, VAT inclusive. So when I pay my distributor or my supplier, I pay an amount. That amount includes the VAT. That is what they will remit to the Kenya Revenue Authority. When I sell, I will charge VAT. So I will not pay the entire amount to the Kenya Revenue Authority, because when I was buying, I already paid some VAT. I offset the input against the output and pay the difference. So that again, apart from the issue of a lot of work that need to be done, there is a relief because it is 16% on the value that you create. By the end of the day, you might find yourself paying a lower amount. But that does not exempt you from paying the corporate tax at the end of the year. You pay 30% on your profit at the end of the year. So there is a lot in accounting, and which now we need to get into as the business grow. It gives you an advantage because even when you are supplying, you issue the e-teams. That indicates that you are compliant, you are registered for the VAT. So that gives you a better advantage. So as much as we feel that you are paying a lot of taxes, or we are paying the taxes to the government, there are advantages. There are some places, if you want to do the surprise, they will not allow you if you are not VAT compliant, because they want to use your input, your output as their input to reduce the VAT payable. So there is an advantage. As you feel that the business is growing, just be compliant with the VAT. That will give you another advantage. Then at the end of the year, you prepare the financial statements, you determine how much is the taxable profit, revenue minus all the allowable expenses. So that will help you to determine how much is your profit, then you pay 30%. And let's not look at tax as an enemy. Actually, what as Kenyans we should be dealing with, it is not much about the taxes that you are paying. It is about the accountability. When we pay to the government over 2 trillion in taxes, are we getting the services? Let's not fight the tax. Let's fight those people who are not giving us the service, to hold them accountable they get us the service.
Yes.
Because taxes, a country need taxes to be run, especially a country like Kenya, where we do not have a lot of natural resources.
Yes.
We need taxes to run the country.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. And I think that's very, very important. The other thing, maybe our viewers, make sure you are asking questions. We talked about taxes. And I know it's a very emotive subject. You know, some people feel very, very strongly, you know, this government, you know, Kenyans, we are overtaxed. And I'm going to ask my guest to tell us whether actually Kenyans are the worst, most taxed people on earth, or what is happening. How do we compare? You know, when somebody says taxes are high in Kenya,
yes.
This e-government inatumaliza na tax. Please explain, is that statement correct?
Let me say that it is subjective. It is a subjective statement,
okay,
depending on where you are studying when
yes.
you are looking at the tax.
Yes.
But I will give some examples.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at a country like our immediate neighbor, a country like Uganda,
yeah,
when you hit 10 million Uganda shillings,
yes,
in salary,
yes,
which is equivalent to about 300,000 Kenya shillings,
yes,
your tax on salary hits 40%.
Wow.
That is our immediate neighbor.
Yes.
On pay as you earn.
Yes.
Let's talk of the VAT, because everybody feel that VAT is 16%.
Yes.
In East Africa, we are the only country that is charging VAT at 16%.
Yes.
All the others at 18%.
Okay.
And most of the countries globally, they are at 18%, although there are some countries that are advantaged.
Mm-hmm.
A country like Nigeria, VAT is 7.5%. Mm-hmm. Why? They got a lot of natural resources.
Okay.
So they only need to utilize the natural resources, and that is why you find those the people in those countries, they rarely hold their government into account. Why? They are only paying 7.5%. The government extract minerals, provide the services.
Yes.
And that is the reason when you go to some of the countries, even electricity power. You see, Kenya, if you are out of power for 5 hours,
yes,
6 hours,
yes,
all of us will be like, no, Kenya Power, the government has decided to bring us down.
Yes.
We were surprised.
Yes.
How can we get out of power for a day?
Mm-hmm.
Some other countries are surprised when they get power continuously for 2 days.
All right.
So we need to look at it. Let's hold the government accountable.
Okay. Okay.
16% manageable.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I was on an assignment for for Belgium.
Yes.
When we are talking of pay in Kenya, 10%, 25%, 30%, 32.5%, and 35% the highest.
Yes.
Belgium, theirs is, the first bracket is 25%.
Okay.
40%, 45%, and 50%.
Yes.
But now for them, their government is efficient.
Yes.
Provide service.
Okay.
So we need to hold the government accountable. We are within the bracket.
Okay.
Yes. If
All
we
right.
go below that, we will compromise everything. I think that is how I would look at it.
That's your answer. That's your answer. That yes, Kenya, we are certainly not the most taxed people. But again, I think the key issue is not just the taxes. The key issue is service delivery.
Yes.
And holding our, our leaders to account, holding the government to account, actually to deliver services, very, very important. Whenever you turn your switch in your house on and the power comes on, the bulb lights,
yes, you
should know that somebody is working behind the scene,
yes,
to ensure that you have that power. Very, very interesting. So let's I think we've talked quite a bit of some of the taxes we've mentioned, presumptive tax on turnover. Let's talk about this MRI, the monthly rental income. I think it falls also within the MSMEs.
Yes, because they are the people who own the small buildings. They own buildings, actually not small buildings, they got the big buildings.
Yes.
They have invested in real estate.
Okay.
They correct rent. Mm-hmm. Now, the issue to do with the tax on rental income is defined in 2 ways.
Okay.
The first one is the monthly rental income.
Okay.
Whatever the rent I correct, I'm supposed to pay 7.5% of the rent that I collect. Initially, it used to be 10%.
Okay.
But the same Finance Act of 2023-2024,
Yes.
I think that is why we never fought a lot. It brought it down to 7.5%.
Okay.
So we are at 7.5%.
Right.
You pay 7.5%, but now it is up to the rent or the annual rent up to 15 million.
Okay.
Because when it get to 15 million, you will be paying, you will be determining the corporate tax at the end of the year. But let's get to this level, the MSMEs, where the rent that you collect just pay 7.5%. It is the final in that category of income.
Okay.
But there is the 16% VAT. But 16% VAT is on commercial rent.
Okay.
The commercial rental income.
Okay.
You have a building, a 5-story building. It is a residential building, but you have some commercial space.
Yes.
The one that you correct on the commercial space,
Yes.
that one you are supposed to charge the tenant VAT.
Okay. Okay.
Or you have a building, all the entire building is occupied by people using the offices, their offices.
Yes.
Those are commercial, they are not residential.
Okay.
You are supposed to charge VAT 16%.
Okay.
But if it is residential, you pay 7.5%. So in simple terms, you are saying the one that is commercial, you pay 7.5% rental income and the VAT 16%.
Okay.
Yes.
Or you still pay the 7.5?
Yeah, the 7.5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually 16. Oh yeah, because you're charging the person 16%.
Yes.
They may actually deduct that. They may treat that as the throughput VAT
Yes.
on their side. So if it's a
Yes.
lawyer or if it's
If they are charged VAT,
Yeah.
when they are charging, they will charge the client's VAT, then offset the VAT they paid on the rent.
Yes.
And allow me to mention this because this is something that has been a discussion in so many, I've met so many clients,
Yeah.
and they are like, kuna mtu ameniambia nipatie ETR for the VAT on rent, and I have decided achana na nyumba yangu. I think by the end of the day, if you're on commercial building, consider this client.
Yes.
Because if you do not issue them, the ETR, they will not claim.
Yes.
And where we are headed
Yes.
with the Kenya Revenue Authority,
Yeah.
we will get to a point that you can only claim if, when I was paying my rent, my landlord issued me with an ETR.
Yes.
I can use the VAT I paid as input, and also at the end of the year, I will use it as an expense.
Yes.
Otherwise, we are headed on a very tough period where if you are not issued, you will not use that tax. You will not use that rent as an expense at the end of the year.
Yes.
So there is that push and pull between the landlord and the tenants.
Okay.
Especially the landlord, I will tell them, let's just be compliant. Charge me VAT on rental so that at least I can use it at the end of the year as an allowable expense. Because if I don't, I will fail to pay the 16%, but at the end of the year, I will lose the entire expense, so I'll pay 30%.
Yeah.
So it is good to be compliant.
Was wonderful, wonderful, and I think that's it's very interesting. We'll be coming back to that story of ETR. That thing, man, I'm telling you, you tell a landlord who, of course, when the money hits their account, you know, landlords don't want to talk. They have already budgeted for the money anyway, and they also, you know, they don't want a lot of exposure. That's really the most puzzling thing about Kenyans. You know, you're earning your money quietly as you can, and you don't want even to be known and all that and all that. Anyways, that's the way it is. So we're talking about tax compliance, the dynamics of it, and the challenges of complying in this part of, you know, in our economy. And it's a big issue. So, and if you're going to play safe, if you're going to play, you're going to be compliant, there's a lot you need to learn. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the ETR, some of those technologies that are available to help you stay compliant if you are a small operator. and that will be very helpful. So take a break. We're coming back to this conversation shortly.
In the middle of the day, when the weight of deadlines, meetings and stress pulls you down, where do you turn for strength?
You have gifts of the Spirit that you never thought. You have the miraculous power.
Step away and step into a place of peace, power and purpose.
Never give up, even if you meet a barrier.
Whatever you are going through right now, in every point, he has been tempted.
Join us at Life Church International, Kenya Cinema Plaza.
You have to come to that stage where there is a pressing by the word.
1 hour of worship, 1 moment of breakthrough, a lifetime of change.
Welcome back. We are talking about the tax compliance for small, medium, or rather micro, small and medium enterprises here on the Monday Morning Digest. My guest here, Mr. Kairu Magutu, is a tax expert, and he works with everybody across the spectrum, small guys, big guys, countries. He advises, including some of the organizations were not mentioned here, some of the state corporations. Actually, he actually does advise them, and he's been in this space of tax compliance and taxation, financial management, actually for a long time. He's actually a very, very good consultant. So if you are having problems with your tax issues, do not hesitate to reach out to Bwana Kairu. He's also an author. Bwana Kairu, I think I need to let people know that here you have some books. Bwana Kairu is an entrepreneur as well. So advanced management accounting, this is CPA advanced levels. So if you're doing your accounting, there is also something else he's written about boy child. So he's a very interesting gentleman here on the set. Bwana Kairu, I love your entrepreneurial spirit, and so very, very interesting. There is somebody here, Gichuki, who is saying that I feel the TOT is too much. So maybe perhaps we can maybe revisit that TOT, and why would somebody feel like TOT is too much, and maybe you can explain why perhaps it's not too much.
As I said, the issue to do with the taxation and the rate is too subjective.
Yes.
The reason that the government placed it at 1.5, if I am 100% compliant, it will be too much.
Yes.
But when I look at the business people who fall under 1.5%,
yes,
what percentage can the government track?
Yes.
That is why the government has to hold it at 1.5. But again, for anyone whose business is growing and you have the prospect to grow the business, I always advise, let us go the VAT way.
Yes.
Why? When you are paying your landlord, they will charge you VAT, you will offset.
Yes.
But when you are at the TOT, you will not offset.
Yes.
So the best thing is, it is a starting point to help the government put you in the tax bracket.
Okay.
But when the business is growing, let's just get the VAT side so that at least we will be safe, and again we will only be paying what we have earned.
Yes.
Out of the value creation.
Yes.
So I agree with her. It is high, but it was there was a lot. Initially, if you remember, it was at 1%, then it went to 3%, then back to 1.5%. So there has been that issue of changing. I would agree with her. But again, the mama boga, how much can the government trace the much that they correct? So that is the advantage that the macro and the small enterprises have. But if you are in business, just get to the next level of the VAT. VAT is safe.
Yeah,
Yes.
VAT is safe.
Yes.
It's easy to compute,
Yes.
and every time you make a purchase, I mean, if you are,
you will have the input.
you will have the input
Yes.
VAT, and once you levy the VAT at the till,
Yes.
when you're charging your client, then it's very visible. It's very clear. It's so easy to compute actually at
Yes.
the end of the month.
Yeah.
So if you are using a POP, point of pay,
Point of sale, yes.
yeah, point
Yeah.
of sale, gadgets, and you're capturing every transaction, it's very, very easy to see the throughput VAT
Yes.
and the compute. Wonderful. That's a very good thing. So, Margaret and others, if you have any questions, you can follow up. I want us to talk about the other areas of allowable taxes, because that's a place where there's there are good things. We will talk about allowable taxes both for the corporation itself and also for the individuals, because everybody looks at their payroll, their pay slip at the end of the month, and they are wondering things are not good. So let's talk about allowable taxes.
Before I get to that, I want to mention to our viewers
Yeah.
that we moved to an era where KRA is on the ground.
Yes.
Compliance is the one that will help you.
Yes.
I remember some times back when I was a student, I used to learn some shop in Kariobangi.
Okay.
As a student here in Nairobi.
Yes.
I used to learn a shop in Kariobangi, and every time I was not in class, I used to go to Isri, do the purchases, and take to my shop.
Yes.
Those days we used not to pay trading license.
Okay.
Actually, it was a fight between us, the business people, and the Kanjo then.
Yes.
Not the county government. We used to have a lot of issues, and actually, they feared the Eastrads.
Yes.
Side.
Yes. Yes.
They could not collect any revenue. But today, the first thing, any person even in Korogosho, because I've done a lot in Korogosho,
Yes.
even in Korogosho, the first thing they think of, when you start the business,
Yes.
I will pay the trading license.
Okay.
The moment you pay the trading license,
Yes.
you will be opening your business anytime. You don't need to ask your neighbor, Alkajo's coming, I don't know what. You just open your business.
Okay.
It became a free environment to do business.
Okay.
Where we are today, we are with the Kenya Revenue Authority, what we were then with the county government or
Okay.
the local government then.
Yes.
So because of the compliance, you don't see people crossing their business when they hear that the Kanjo people are coming. They don't.
Yes.
Unless the few people who have decided not to comply.
Yes.
That is where we are headed with the tax.
Yes.
We will fight with the government, but by the end of the day, the government will win.
Okay.
So the easier way is, can we start training ourselves to comply?
Wow.
Let me be on TOT, let me be on VAT. When I hear KRA guys are coming, all my staff at my small hardware call me and tell me there's someone here who is saying they are from KRA. The only thing I'll tell them, give them the document, the records.
Yes.
Yeah, don't call me. Give them the file,
yes.
give them the record. You will not have an issue.
Okay.
That resistance to change is
Yes.
the one that is causing all this problem.
Okay.
So now back to your question.
Yes.
The issue to do with the allowable expenses. Let us start with the PSU1. One day, KRA today they're asking you about the VAT, the TOT. They will come one day to your shop. They find employees. You have 5 of them in your hardware, in your small pub, in your small supermarket. They will ask you, can you show us the record, the compliance PSU1?
Right.
And you are like, I am compliant with the TOT, but I don't do the pay as you earn. Be compliant. The thing is, when you are computing the pay as you earn,
Yes.
engage someone who understands, because it is about the gross pay. You minus the 1.5% that we don't want to hear about the housing levy, but now it is a law, we don't have an option about it.
Yes.
Then you minus the social health insurance fund on 2.5% of the salary. Then you minus the National Social Security Fund under the category that your employees fall.
Yeah.
After you have deducted that, that is when you get the taxable pay.
Okay.
So the taxable pay is based on the gross pay minus the 3 items, you deduct them. And I'm saying that there is a lot, but I'm saying that because we are talking of the MSMEs today.
Yes.
So those are the areas that they mostly find themselves. There's more than that when it comes to the large enterprises. So once you are compliant with that, you will not have an issue with the government. So that gives you the taxable pay on your employees. Now, when determining the profit at the end of the year, if you are under the TOT, your tax is final. But if you are under the corporate tax,
right,
of course you take the revenue, the sales per year, you minus the purchases, that we call it the cost of sales, then you minus the allowable expenses, including the rent, the salaries. And I'm telling you where we are headed. We are getting to a point where taxation will be fully technologically computed, such that if I don't deduct the pay as you earn, I will not use salary as expenses. Why? Because I did not remit the pay as you earn. So the government is not aware that I have employees. How will I deduct the salaries at the end of the year? I did not. I was not issued with the VAT by the employer, so not the employer, the landlord. So the rent that is paid, because I was not issued with the e-teams, with the e-teams invoice, I'm not known by KRA that I paid the rent for business. I cannot use it to offset. So the only thing is actually to comply.
What I like. Sorry to interrupt you. What I like about what you are saying is that we are at the point where we used to be with the Kanjo. Let me talk to our viewers. There is a time in this city of Nairobi when you had the council guys on the streets, you ran. You closed your shop. Until you hear they have cleared, especially in the estates. So you're saying that that's where we are with the KRA. The KRA has deployed as many people as possible. The compliance department has a lot of people working there, and they are very, very keen. So they have a map. They have mapped out everything. Every shop, every person who is doing business and transact. Hata karibu ule mtu anauza mayai, wanamuona, wanamumulika. In other words, as long as you're actually doing business on the streets of Nairobi or anywhere in the country, you're actually visible to KRA. So we are coming to that place where compliance is going to be inevitable. And to advise, you're advising big businesses, micro, small businesses, that your best option is to comply. Your best option is to comply. And also, it also gives you now advantage so that especially at this lower end of when you get to be big corporation like Safaricom, then the money you are making is already so much, so you're not worried about paying taxes. Absolutely. So that's very, very important. Deductible taxes, allowable expenses. Is fueling your car, fuel that you put in your car, as a businessman, if you got an ETR for it, is it allowable expense?
Thank you. I think I was asked that question last week by someone. Remember, when the business grow, you have the car that you used on your business. But this car is registered in your name.
Right.
And there is no any documentation to show that you transferred it to the business. I will not give the street advice
Yes.
that is given.
Yes.
I will give the professional advice.
Yes.
So that you may be on the right side of the law.
Yes.
If your car is fully used in your business,
Yes.
for you to use that fuel as an expense in the business, transfer that vehicle to your business.
Okay.
That is option number 1.
Right.
Option number 2, be in a lease contract. You lease the vehicle to the business.
Okay.
Meaning it is used for the purpose of the business.
Okay.
But if I use my car that there is no any documentation to show its relation with the business,
Yes.
I'm at the mercies of the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Okay.
They may tell you no. There is no any evidence that this vehicle is used for the business. So it is either you lease it to the business, documented,
Yes.
or transfer it to the business.
Okay.
Because you are using it for the business, that one there will be no problem. You will enjoy the capital deduction.
Yes.
You will enjoy when you repair the car. That is an expense for the business.
Okay.
Because it is owned by your business.
Okay.
And in these days from 2015, because you can own a company 100%,
Yes.
why can't you transfer that vehicle to be owned by your business if it is really for the business?
Yes.
You have a pickup that you use in your hardware, and clearly we can tell that this pickup you don't use it for anything else, but you own it.
Yes. Yeah, the logbook is in your name.
Yes. The business is a separate legal entity. So when it comes to using its expenses into the business,
Yes.
you are now at the mercies of the KRA.
Okay.
They may or may not. But if it is fully owned by the business, every expense that you incur, you will charge it to the business.
Wow.
That is the best way I can advise. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you're saying there is street advice and there is professional advice.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that is absolutely very good. So, as you follow this conversation, we're talking about tax compliance for the people in the, in the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And, there is what we call street advice. Where somebody tells you, this is what you do, to stay on the safe side, and there is the professional advice. And so you're getting the professional advice. I like the idea of leasing the car, to the business.
Yes.
Yes, because you are saying you are creating a legal documentation.
Yes.
Shows the relationship between the car and the business.
And the business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's then touch some of the other maybe emotive taxes that I know we have. Let's talk about NSSF and Tier 1, Tier 2. There are those things that keep coming up, and then SHA and why SHA is an allowable expense. Maybe we can start with the NSSF. As long as anybody who has worked as on a payroll, anybody who has been on payroll, they know that thing called National Social Security Fund deduction. Talk about this thing of Tier 1, Tier 2, and the fact that now employers can also kind of take their insurance, their social security insurance to a private pension fund. Mention that a little bit.
Let us start with the NSSF.
Yes.
The National Social Security Fund
Yes.
is meant to help us save when we are actively working for the time that will not be actively working or earning. So we are supposed to contribute towards the National Social Security Fund, and whatever is deducted from the employee's salary, the employer is supposed to match an equivalent amount.
Okay.
So if I am deducted 2,000, the employer should add another 2,000. We remit to the National Social Security Fund for my retirement.
Okay.
Now, there is this part of Tier 1 and Tier 2 that has again been an issue in understanding.
Right.
The National Social Security Fund, since 2014, we've been working on improving the contribution towards our retirement.
Right.
Under Tier 1, it is any income up to 8,000 and below.
Okay.
And funane, not 80. The 8,000.
Yes.
You are supposed to deduct your employee 6% of the salary, but there is a minimum amount which is 480.
Right.
Okay, let me put it clear. 6% of 8,000
Yes.
is 480 shillings.
Yes.
So if an employee is earning 6,000, you cannot deduct less than 480.
Right.
So it gives the first bracket of tier 1 up to 8,000.
Right.
Any other salary above that, you charge 6%. Simply this way, if I am earning 20,000 shillings,
Yes.
the NSSF that will be deducted from my salary is 6% of 20,000. That is 1,200. That will be remitted to the National Social Security Fund, and the employer will add an equivalent amount.
Okay.
So the employer will remit 2,400. This one goes up to 72,000 Kenya shillings.
Okay.
So if I am earning 72,000 Kenya shillings, I will be charged the 6% of my salary, and which is 43.20. The employer will add another 43.20 to make it 86.40, and that is what will be limited. So if I am earning 100,000, my deduction is 43.20.
Okay.
The person who is earning 72,000 is 43.20. But the person who is earning 50,000, 6% of the 50,000.
Okay.
So that gives the ceiling, but by the time we're in February next year, we might get to 108.
Okay. Let me get that clear.
Yes.
So if you are earning 72,000,
Yes.
which is the upper ceiling for, is it tier 1?
If tier 2.
Tier 2?
Yes.
Salaries above 72,000,
Yeah.
they still pay 43.20.
Okay. Which is 6% of 72,000.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
So you continue to pay 43 even if your salary is
It's 1 million.
Okay.
Yes. So until the day that we'll get to standardize it, that it will be just open.
Okay.
But the wisdom of the government in 2014, I think there was a lot of wisdom. They decided instead of hitting these people with the 6%,
Yes.
they will ban everything.
Yes.
So why can't we move them gradually?
Okay. Okay.
You remember before February this year, it was 6% of 7,000.
Yes.
420. Now we are at 480. You see, graduate, you don't even realize. You see, that's the wisdom that actually I say we need in the government to move people slowly. Don't come and overturn things one day and everybody is like, you people want to finish us. No. So there is that for the National Social Insurance Fund.
Yes.
The reason that we got a lot of heat,
Yes.
it is because it came one day, pop, and everybody was like, I've been hit. 2.75%.
Yes.
I wish they gave the approach that was done on the National Social Security Fund. Actually, National Social Security Fund charges more, but you never hear people talk about it.
Right.
They talk more on the 2.75% because it was introduced one day.
Yes.
I wish they just did that approach.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, that's where we say, some government bureaucrat, smart guy,
Yes.
but he just didn't have that extra small bit of genius that some other people had. And I think that's why people need to really study and understand taxation, because taxation is not just the knocking off the figure. There are also social dynamics that are involved in it, including a bit of psychological, psychology.
Yes.
Yeah. So you want people to comply. You are chasing people down in Kariobangi South, with the landlords there, and you want them to comply.
Yeah.
You just can't go and ambush them and start shutting buildings and chasing tenants.
Yeah.
You get in trouble. You get killed.
Yes.
But you can still get those people to pay if there is a kind of a social dynamics involved in it. Maybe they start by registering, maybe charge. Anyway, let's not go into the details of that. I think I like that. So one of the biggest challenges, like you have said, with the SHA, the social health, is this what? Social health, eh?
Insurance fund, yes.
Yeah, social health insurance fund,
Yeah.
was basically the fact that it was introduced at once, It was not, graduated,
Yes.
and then of course it was in the backdrop of other problems. I think we were having other political arguments, so the timing was wrong. All right. So in the general, as we come towards the end, in general, when you look at the way our tax regime has been playing out, and right now we are in the middle of, we are at the cusp of another, budget presentation in Parliament. What do you see? How do you see the next 2 years panning out in terms of taxation? Are we going to see a little bit more leveling of expectation, maybe smoothing out some of the rough edges, or what do you expect?
I want to put this very clear. The taxation in Kenya, we are growing. The government introduction of the electronics tax invoice management systems, that is what we call the e-teams, over the last 2 years has changed the issue of taxation in the country. Because today, my VAT is auto-populated. When I'm buying, I buy and issue my KRA PIN. If I don't, I cannot use that as an input. When I'm selling, I must use the KRA generated invoice, meaning I record the sale. Where are we? And where are we headed in the next 2 years?
Yes.
As we start today, by 30th June next month,
yes,
the minister is presenting the budget in the National Assembly.
Okay.
One of the things, and this one I'm telling the MSMEs,
yes,
because you people don't comply on the pay as you earn,
yes,
for your employees.
Yes.
This year the government is not much about increasing the taxes.
Yes.
It is much about streamlining the existing system.
Yes.
I will say two things. There is a lot. We'll discuss that after the minister has released everything.
Yes.
One of the things that is there is that the government is making it a law for you as an employer to allow this employee take advantage of the deduction or the benefits that they have with the KRA. One of them is the monthly income relief, 2,400. If you do not comply, then it means you are denying this citizen the relief. So the KRA guy will come to your office and they will hold you accountable for that.
Yes.
Any employee who just charge a bracket amount, they don't give the reliefs, they need to be very cautious.
Yes.
That is one thing, and we are headed to pushing the existing laws. The other thing is, please, let us comply. The government is changing the law this June, and they will be getting your information without your consent.
Okay.
To the public interest.
Yes.
Yes. They will be coming to you. This is your bank statement. You have 10 bank accounts.
Yes.
Now give us the story of how you pay tax. We have your income.
Yeah.
But,
the other day, I think somebody mentioned that somewhere in passing.
Yes.
That, say, M-Pesa.
Yes.
M-Pesa, the till, buy goods.
Yes.
All those, as far as KRA is concerned,
yes,
are pay points.
Yes.
So anytime you pay someone with buy goods,
yes,
whether you're buying bread, whether you're buying petrol,
yes,
whether you're buying whatever you pay for, including the matatu fare, you are paying with the Pochi la Biashara.
Yes.
That is visible to KRA.
Yes. The only advantage we've had
yes,
is that there has been that data protection,
yes,
that we have always used it to shield.
Yes.
But the law is changing,
yes,
for the public interest.
Okay.
KRA will have the right.
Okay.
Yes.
That is good news and bad news at the same time. Good news because now I don't know, maybe it's my bias. I actually think that if we became efficient on the issues of tax, so we lay that out of the way, put that out of the way, then we can focus on real issues. We can focus on productivity.
Yeah.
We can talk of government funding small enterprises, increasing whatever funding there is, so that the mama boga now becomes not mama one boga, but mama 2 tons of boga.
Yes.
Because you see, once you're selling 2 tons, 5 tons of boga, then you are no longer just the the miserable mama boga. You are actually a serious entrepreneur, and if the government can fund you for that, then that becomes easy. So in other words, we can actually shift our perspective to toka kwa hii jua kali. We just do jua kali. Yeah. So anything else that you'd like to share with micro enterprises as we wrap up? One final thing.
One thing, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Number one, the cyber guy is not an accountant. Because all of them, if you ask them,
yes,
naenda hapo kwa cyber nifanyiwe return.
Yes.
The cyber guy is not an accountant.
Yes.
Most of the problems we are dealing with the KRA is because you've been taking your VAT to the cyber, and the cyber guy does the return for you.
Yes.
Do you know what the cyber guy looks for? Is it will it submit when I click on submit?
Yes.
So I can do anything as long as itakubali when I click on submit.
Yes.
When I submit and there is an error, they correct that error. So you find you've been doing you'll be making the return yourself, long returns.
Yes.
Now when things get bad, that is when you ask, nitapata accountant wapi anisaidie. The thing is next, please get an accountant. Accountants are all over.
Yes.
Get your cousin who is an accountant to do it for you. Get that neighbor who has a son or a daughter who is an accountant. Please, let us start from there.
Yes.
They went to school to help us.
Right.
Let us not go to cyber. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very amazing conversation here on the Monday Morning Digest on tax compliance for micro, small and medium enterprises. And Bwana Kairu has said it very well. The cyber is not a tax, it's not a substitute for an accountant. And so don't just operate on those small, dodgy, schemes or street tax compliance. Reach out to professionals, and that way you give your business a chance to grow. And the more compliant you are, the more likely you're going to benefit, and also you have opportunity to do even bigger business, make better money and bigger money, and then now you can enjoy your success. Thank you so much for paying attention, for listening to us. I think that's all we had for you this Monday Morning Digest, and it's been my pleasure hosting this particular show. God bless you so much. We'll see you another day. Keep it elevate every Monday morning. God bless you and have a good day. Bye for now.